Good evening, students, and continuation of the topic. And today I'm going to deal with the topic of the virus. Okay, so still now what we have dealt and we have completed the bacteria topics, and now I'm entering into the pathogenic viruses. Okay, so in that and the introduction they have explained regarding of the pathogenicity, laboratory diagnosis, the prophylaxis, and everything that will be explained in each and every type of the condition. So directly I am going into the conditions only. Okay, so don't confuse, and directly what is the specimen collection, everything, so that everything will be explained within the answer itself. Okay, so directly I am going to the conditions, that is a poliomyelitis virus. Okay, so first we'll be dealing with the RNA virus. Okay, so in this pathogenic virus, and the subtopics are divided into two types, that is RNA viruses and the DNA virus. Okay, so today we are going to deal with the RNA virus. Okay, so in the first topic is a poliomyelitis virus. Okay, so the poliomyelitis virus is also called as a cause of polio. So in that, so first we'll be dealing with the what is meant by poliomyelitis. So it is also called as a polio or the infantile paralysis. Okay, so the overall body, and it is causing the paralysis either to the legs or the hands or the overall body. And when the infection, the virus is going to enter into the body, and automatically so the person is going to be changes into the infantile paralysis. Okay, so which was caused by the virus. Okay, so what is a virus that is causing the paralysis means, or the polio virus means, is Picornaviridae family group. Okay, so it's a subgroup of the family of polio virus, and that is causing the disease of enterovirus or maybe the polio virus. And so how it is going to be maintained, the clinical manifestations of these poliovirus means, so whenever these poliovirus is enters into your body, and automatically so it is going to be directly enter into the spinal cord of your body, and whenever it enters to your spinal cord, and it is going to be transmitted to your central nervous system. Okay, so automatically, and they are showing the clinical manifestations of the paralysis. Okay, and so next we'll be dealing with the epidemiology. So epidemiology, whenever you are taking that, and you may see that, so global. Okay, so overall the global, and so the people are affected with these kind of the polio virus. Okay, so what happened here means, over past 20 years onwards, and especially in a few countries now they are taking, so but so what will be happening means, and now at present, so the few they are taking the polio virus, so but in still in Africa and Asian countries, and the polio is existing in the countries. Okay, and the last polio case was recorded here in the Philippines, and certain everything, the UNICEF has been eradicated now the polio virus. Okay, so but still the vaccinations are going on to take off on polio vaccines. So how it is going to be transmit the infection means, so it is a person to person spread of polio virus, or it is going to be spread by the fecal or oral route. Okay, or it is the main two routes, so they are going to transmit the infection from one person to other person. So what are the risk factors to get the polio virus? So first thing is a infant and the elderly. So whenever you are taking of infant or the elderly group, and these two people are lacking in their immunity levels. Okay, so means in the children's, when you are comparing, and they will have the low immunity levels, still they did not developed, and comparing with the elderly, when you are taking, and they are going have weak immune system, so automatically so they are the prone to get the chance of virus enter in easily from the transmission of oral or the fecal to oral route. Okay, and living with the infected person. Okay, the person who are infected already so with the polio virus, and they are going to so get the infection transmission by the virus. Okay, or compromised immune system and the lack of immunization against polio. So if you are not immunized against the polio, and you have the easy chance to get the polio virus continuously, or extreme stress or the strenuous activity whenever you are doing, so that is also leads to the group of getting of the virus chance. Okay, and next, travel to an area that have experienced a polio outbreak. So means what, the person who are traveling from one area to the other area, so if they are not immunized according to the category of polio, so they are spreading the infection from one area to the other area. So mainly when we can take the category of experiencing of the travelers. Okay, so truck travelers. And so what is the pathogenicity? Okay, so there are the risk factors, and now we'll see the what is the pathogenesis of the, nothing else but pathogenesis means what, and how the virus entering, and how we are going to get the signs and symptoms. Okay, so first we'll see the what is the pathogenicity. So here, so from the mouth means portal of entry is what, from the mouth, so the virus is going to be enters into the body. Okay, so from the pharynx and the gastrointestinal tract, so it is going to enter into your body, and it is going to be multiplication of the virus is going to be, that is the first stage of development of virus. Okay, and the next what is happening here means, and the usually the virus which is going to be situated over the throat, means it is going to be stays in the pharynx, right? So they are going to develop some of the throat and also gastrointestinal tract, and in stool it is going to be situated, and after that this virus is going to be so transmitted into your lymphoid tissue, local lymphoid tissues, and enter into the bloodstream, and overall, so from the infected cells of the bloodstream, it is going to enter into our nervous system. Okay, and whenever it enters into our nervous system, the replication of the polio virus is in the motor neuron cells is going to be damages. Okay, the brain stem cells is going to be distract and causing the clinical manifestations, because the central nervous system is only the is going to be control your so brain and our motor system and the regulatory system. So what is happening here means, and whatever the body, the central nervous system is making the damage to the stem cells. Okay, so automatically, so the person is going to be so step up into the poliomyelitis or the clinical manifestations of the poliomyelitis. Clear? So once again I am explaining you the pathogenesis. So from the mouth, so the virus is going to enter into our pharynx and our gastrointestinal tract, and some of the virus that entering into the throat, and you are going to observe after 1 week the virus in the throat, some infection or some symptoms you may observe, and later it is going to be excreted in the stools, and from the bloodstream it is going to be observed in your lymphoid tissues, and later it will enter into your bloodstream, and so from the bloodstream it is going to be passed through your central nervous system, and in the central nervous system, and it is going to be damage your brain stem, brain cells, and automatically, and you are causing the symptoms of the poliomyelitis. Okay, so we'll see the paralytic polio classified into 3 types. Okay, the types of polio. So first we'll see the spinal polio. So if the infection that is transmitted to the spinal cord, okay, and causing the paralysis to the spinal area, so mostly the person is getting the paralysis to the legs. Okay, so that is called as spinal polio. So bulbar polio, so means, so the person is going to be get the polio to your muscles. So okay, weakening of the muscles, and that is going to be taken by your cranial nerve damage. Okay, and the next one is a bulbospinal polio. So means both. Okay, so the spinal, okay, the hands and the legs and your muscles and your bones, the okay, legs, everything, your body is going to be get a polio virus. Hands and the legs is going to be damages or affected with the polio virus. Okay, so clinical manifestations, we'll see that. So in the incubation period, whenever you are seeing that 6 to 20 days you will see so the polio virus commonly, but the range is a 3 to 35 days, and mostly they have incubated. Okay, so whenever the virus enter into the body, so the incubation period is a 6 to 20 days chance. Okay, so it may extend to the 3 to 35 days also. So these virus may be alive in your process and show the clinical manifestations. Okay, so first we'll see the pathogenomic sign. So what signs you'll see whenever the incubation period it starts? So flaccid paralysis is going to be there, means overall the body system, the muscles and the legs and the hands is going to be infected, and they'll have the weakness and the paralysis means, okay, and reduce the muscle tone. So everything, So these are the signs they'll see in the poliovirus. Okay, and next pathogenomic signs, same only, same thing they have explained here. And so what is the assessment you are going to make? Okay, so here you have seen that, yes, first one is a inapparent infection. So if the severity of infection they have differentiated, and whatever the signs and symptoms. Okay, so what is the severity and what is the objective, means what is a manifestation they are going to observe, and what is a subjective type of an objective type, means what the patient is explaining. Okay, and subjective type means what? Yes, so what they are observing the signs and symptom. Okay, what is a problem identification you have done. So first we'll be seeing the abortive poliomyelitis. Three types it has been divided the clinical manifestation. First one is abortive poliomyelitis, and second one is non-paralytic poliomyelitis, and third one is a paralytic poliomyelitis. So in the abortive poliomyelitis, so the person is getting of the sore throat and abdominal pain he has, and the constipation and diarrhea, nausea and decreased appetite they are shown in the objective type. Okay, and so has they observed, and they are going to observe the upper respiratory tract infection and the fever is the signs and symptom. And what is the problem identification you have done, means the pain is there, the fluid volume deficit, and has observed by the nurse this one. So imbalanced with nutrition is there, and fatigue, hyperthermia, fever. Okay, and next with the non-paralytic poliomyelitis, so they are going to observe the stiffness of the neck, back and the legs, means the person is going to get the paralysis. So no subjective they have identified. So pain and hyperthermia is a problem identification. And in the paralytic poliomyelitis, severe muscle aches, spasms in the limb, means some swellings. Okay, and or back or the flaccid paralysis you can see. And as a subjective, loss of superficial reflexes is going to be lost, like for example extension, abduction, adduction, means movement of your legs. Okay, and diminished deep tendon reflexes. Okay, so whenever you will have take one tendons and make a just strike over the, so your elbow of your hand or your knee. So whenever you have a slight movement, so that they are going to lacking. Okay, and weakened breathing is going to be there, and flushed on the blotchy skin is going to be there over the process. And what is you when observe the problem identification? Disturb the body image or risk of injury, self-care deficit and impaired breathing pattern is going to be there in the objective symptoms. And what is the diagnostic studies you are going to make, means virus culture they are doing. So what virus culture means what? So from the stool or the throat or the cerebrospinal fluid, they are going to take the sample of the virus and they are going to do the culture. So culture means what? Growth of the virus. Okay, so isolating of the virus by the cultures, means some of the nutritious agar medium they are going to add in order to for the growth purpose. Okay, and next one is the serological test. So in the serological test, and they are going to take the serum sample and maybe tested to the, so antibodies titer they are going to observe in order to detect out the paralysis observation. And next one, cerebrospinal fluid test. So what you are going to take? So number of white blood cells, means so wherever the infection, chance of infection is there, and you see that the elevated protein level of spinal fluid will be increased in the body. Okay, so why? Because and the white blood cells are automatically increased. And what is the management, means treatment for the pain with analgesics they'll give, that is acetaminophen they'll give. And secondary infections like we had discussed, right? So non for poliovirus, antibiotics only they are going to prefer. And fluid therapy they'll give bed rest because they'll have the fever, right? And adequate diet and minimal exertions and exercises you have to give. And for the muscle pains, and you have to give the hot packs on the heating pads you have to give. And prolonged rehabilitation is necessary, like braces, slings and surgeries. Okay, so braces nothing else but so to support for the walking. So the poliovirus is going to be whatever the affected part is there, and that they are going to keep a supporter, so that the braces, okay, splints and the surgery they will do. Okay, and what is the management they are going to means? So the hospitalization they are required for the paralytic poliomyelitis, and long, so already we have seen in the abruption poliomyelitis, upper respiratory tract infection. So respiratory is very very important, like long term ventilation is very important. And the physiotherapy, like for example giving of and walking skills, that is very important. And place a child and firm mattress to support the feet, and change the position frequently, so in order to have the disturbance to the patient. And encourage oral intake and catheterization, so is very important because the patient can't able to walk due to the paralysis. So what is the prevention they can make by this means? So ensure that and the person is meeting a proper hygienic is very important, and encourage good sanitation, and taking of polio vaccines are very important in order to avoid the 3 subtypes of the polio virus. Okay, and antibodies are very important, and in order to avoid that, the immunity is also one of the cause, and ensure that the patient is taking a well diet. Okay, and next one, 2 types of vaccine that are inactivated means killed polio vaccine they are going to give, and live attenuated oral polio vaccine they are going to give. Okay, so that are the 2 vaccines they are going to give for the patients. Okay, what is the advantages for the inactivated means? So it is what is the advantage means? So what is shed in the stool of the vaccinated person means, what is going to be there here means, in an inactivated polio vaccine, so what are the paralysis? Okay, that is stool paralysis is the right, non-paralytic, so it cannot cause vaccine associated with the paralysis. Okay, so whatever the infection is there, and it will shed out that in the stool itself. Okay, and it will make the virus as a immunodeficient process. Okay, and disadvantages means require injection, and gastrointestinal immunity recipients could become infected with the wild polio virus. So that are the 2 infectant, that is the 2 disadvantages with this process. And oral polio virus, so easily we can administer this virus, and for intestinal immunity it is very important, so prevent infection with the wild virus, so it can't with the wild virus, and it is not going to be dice. Okay, and may cause vaccine associated paralytic polio, so means what they are saying that, and if the polio, so if you are not taking a proper hygiene of this oral polio, and it may cause to the return occurrence of the polio virus. Okay, so what is a poliomyelitis immunization means? So what is a route oral they will take, and site is a mouth, and number of doses means 3 doses we have to give, and age at first dose is 6 weeks after birth we have to give, and minimum intervals between doses 4 weeks we have to give between that, and dosage is 2 drops, and storage of temperature is -15 to -25 degrees centigrade we have to keep this polio immunization OPV virus. Okay, and what is the prognosis means, and whenever the prognosis is very good, and the outlook depending on the form of the disease condition only. Okay, either maybe the subclinical or the paralytic. If the person is a paralyzed, and if we are not going to be changes, surgery is very important. If it is affected to the brain and the spinal cord, emergency ability is very needed, and some of the person who become a disability, so you may see that the person with the disability is living in the situation is very hardships is going on. So what is going to be there, so the person should be taken care of the disability persons, and also the person who are having a brain and the spinal cord, so they will be having an increased chance of the breathing problem, so that you have to make out. So that is regarding of the poliomyelitis virus. Okay, so thank you.